Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Music for a Book podcast, Summer Mixtape Edition. I'm Britt, and this is a very special series where we're bringing you 4 bonus episodes before we start season 3. In these episodes, one of us, or both, honestly, we changed it up a little bit, so that's fine, will come on with a guest host, and the guest host is in the driver's seat, meaning that they got to pick the book of the episode, and we can think of this as like our summer book club discussion with them. So we won't go as plot heavy, but we're very excited. So on our first episode, I'm so excited to welcome my best friend of about 20 years. This is Jordyn. Everyone say hi to Jordyn.
20 years.
20 fucking years.
So what, me trying to do the math, I'm like, what year was that? So that's 2000, wait.
About 2004.
So 2004?
Mm-hmm. We were 12 when we met.
So very stressful, not very stressful, but stressful to realize that I can say things like I've been friends with somebody for 20 years, right?
That's gross, right?
Right.
Hi.
But, hi, average book reader. I'd say I'm I guess I don't know how... whether you're a reader or not, but
if
I read like
books,
2 to
you're
3
a reader.
books a month.
That's so good.
That's how I've been since we've been having, because Brittany and I have our own book club.
Yes, we do.
And then I have a book club with work. And then I had to read, but I have had this book to read for the podcast this month. So I felt like I was a little reading machine. Yeah, so mild reader. So usually the content I consume is usually not very feel good. So venturing into romance has been brand new for me. And then even further, I mean, we'll get into that. A romance plus. So it's been interesting, but I've been finding that, yeah, it's been fun to, even though I still think like suspense thriller is like my home genre.
Totally.
That, yeah, it's been fun giving other genres a try.
Yeah. I've been such a summer romance girly. Like, all I want to read is romance this summer, which is disturbing because I never read romance until last year.
But I love that. Like, I love that you post them all. But what hurts my heart, I don't know what, this is probably just, call it what it is, mental illness. I see all these books, these romance books that look so good, but I'm like, I don't have time to read all of them. Like, there's so many good ones that I just wish I could just like download into my brain. That way I know what happens, but I still want to have the experience of the book. Like there's so many
books.
Right. And I mean, not that like I'm obviously preaching to the choir, look at your background, right? But it's even like on my Kindle, I get overwhelmed sometimes because there are so many books that aren't even on like my list that are just like in my Kindle that like, I have books beyond my concept of like I own books I don't even know I own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still more. I'm still adding more to my list and reading others in front of like it's very bizarre. But anyway, yeah, it's been, a journey. But
I love it. My goal this year was to turn all of my friends into hot girl readers, and honestly, it's working.
That.
I have 3 there's 3 people in my life currently reading ACOTAR. 4 currently reading ACOTAR. And the other day, I had a couple of friends over and we were in the pool. And do you know what we did? We put on music and we all read our books while floating.
I love that. If that is not like elite goals,
that is pure girlhood at its finest.
Right.
Is reading a cute little book, drinking a fancy little drink, and floating on a raft.
Right. Honestly,
so, we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, like I said, Jordyn and I have known each other for 20 years. We met in school, and she can't get rid of me now.
That's, as hard as I try.
Literally moved states, and she still can't get rid of me. Literally, she's in Florida.
Yeah, right. The Florida man state.
See it.
Even though I moved far away into a dangerous spot. So even if the distance couldn't separate us, the danger of being surrounded by Florida people, I've not been assaulted yet, not been taken off the earth.
Honestly,
so
amazing.
Really I'm doing my best to separate us, but really someone's pulling some chains around here, or what's pulling some strings, maybe not maybe it is like chains, right?
It might be chains. Like I said, you're stuck with me now. So
right. So alas, here we are.
So today we have a book, you guys. We read a book.
That's safe to say.
We read a book. No, hear me out. I think Jordyn is probably, I feel like me, where you hear a lot about a book, you see a book, it's popular, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to read that book. And then you don't read anything about it. And you just read it.
That's what happened. On Goodreads, it was because you know how you could see like all the top plug-in Goodreads, sponsor the pod. But it was on everybody's book club. Like I could see it down the list, all the most popular book clubs. Everyone was reading Bride. And this was maybe, we're end of July right now. This was maybe March, April, maybe? When we originally started talking about this.
Somewhere in that range.
Somewhere in there. Spring.
Yeah.
And it was every book club's list, number one. And I, in my brain, I'm like, I need to know what the...
Yes.
Am I allowed to swear?
Absolutely.
What the frickle frack is up? I need to know what the big secret is, why everyone's reading this fucking book. But I just saw it was by Ali Hazelwood. I know that she writes a lot of romance books.
Yes.
I have a bunch of her books on my Kindle that are like all really well rated on Goodreads. Everybody loves this girl, right? I should say everybody, right? Like her books are just really well reviewed.
Yeah.
And I saw it was called Bride. I saw it was something to do with a vampire. Like, I don't read a lot of books, fantasy books, maybe. I read Twilight, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it could be a winner. But, boy, do I wish I would have read that. No summary. No summary I don't think they could legally print a summary that would have prepared me for what content I consumed with these two eyes, dude. And I'm so glad I read it and didn't listen to it.
I listened to it.
You listened to it? I would have thrown up. And this book has made me realize that either like I'm a prude, I don't know what, I'm a little prissy ass country club bitch. I cannot read this shit, bro. Anyway, we haven't introduced the book, but this book made me feel like a baby back bitch, all right? Because I was unprepared.
And let me put it, like, I read a good amount of spice. I don't read a lot of crazy spice. I'm not a dark romance girly, but I'm not gonna, like, even some of these scenes, I was like...
Yeah,
it's fine. Everything's...
I just would not have picked this book if I would have known where it was. Because even, like, ACOTAR sometimes gives me the ick, like, for their scenes. Because it can be kind of animalistic, but like not in a hot way to me. Like,
oh, just wait until you get to Silver Flames, baby. Just wait until you get to Silver Flame.
Because I don't like when it talks like I feel like I'm reading about a dog fucking. I cannot read that, bro. I'm like, who's reading this saying?
We are, Jordyn.
The girl read it and say this was good.
The girlies are saying it.
Where was she where was her brain? What was she experiencing when she wrote this? Who hurt Ali Hazelwood? Who threatened her to make this plot? What bet did she lose where she's like, wow, I'm going to very descriptively talk about what it'd be like if a dog fucked you. No. Anyway.
So we read Bride by Ali Hazelwood.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I can't wait, you guys. Dude. We still have so much more to talk about. So,
sorry, I got too passionate there, but
no, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Just so you guys know, like I said, the Summer Mixtape series is similar to like our typical structure. So we're a little less plot driven. So if you have not tuned into our typical episodes, Hannah and I usually deep dive a book. So we walk through all of the major plot points, give our thoughts and feelings as we go, all that fun stuff. This is going to be more of like asking questions, diving in. So if you have not read the book, you're going to be real confused. But you can be confused with us because I believe we were also confused and we did read the book. So
I can't agree. I'm still confused now. Yes.
So how this episode is going to work is we're going to go over trigger warnings in a brief synopsis for the book. And then we're going to reveal our song choices because we're still doing our song choices. Obviously, this is the Music for a Book podcast. After our song choices, we're going to move into the book. So we're going to discuss anything and everything that happens cover to cover inside of this book. And there's everything happens inside of this book. And I mean, everything. If you have not read Bride and you want to, that's your chance to dip out because you're going to hear about it. Guaranteed. If you've read Bride, or if you don't care to read Bride and you just want to like hop along for the ride, join us. Dear reader, some trigger warnings for this book. I did get these from Storygraph. Just know that this book comes with a hefty list of triggers, and you know yourself best. Just please check them out before you dive in, unlike us, if you have any concerns. So, sexual content, blood, violence, kidnapping, abandonment, death, emotional abuse, confinement, injury, death of a parent, murder, gore, sexual content, between non-human characters. It is a paranormal romance, so just know.
And a quick synopsis that we grabbed off of Goodreads. Misery Lark, the only daughter of the most powerful vampire councilman of the Southwest, is an outcast again. Her days of living anonymously among the humans are over. She has been called upon to uphold a historic peacekeeping alliance between the vampires, and she sees little choice but to surrender herself in the exchange again. Whereas are ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Lo Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice. And unlike the Vampire Council, not without feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her, if only he knew how right he was. Because Misery has her own reasons to agree to this marriage of convenience, reasons that have nothing to do with politics or alliances, and everything to do with the only thing she's ever cared about. And she's willing to do whatever it takes to get back what's hers, even if that means a life alone in Were territory, alone with the wolf. Bitch. Okay.
To be fair, I feel like if you had read that description, you still would not have been prepared for what was happening.
Nothing. Like, even that's pretty. I mean, that still doesn't even like capture what even happens in the book, right?
But I feel like that, like, I vibe with that because I read the description. Right. Like, I knew what we were getting into. I didn't think it was like crazy because, like I said, all the girly pops loved this.
Every book club was reading it, so yeah. I'm like, this is tame.
It's
like
fine.
This is Twilight, right? All the girly twirly popperonis are
reading Bride.
Yeah, well, I'd be interested to know what the fuck they thought, because holy, if this is what they're reading, if this is what is on the girlies' Kindles, recycle mine. I'm returning it. Listen, Emily, Henry, I need to stick to that.
Yeah, I don't think you should explore the dark romance genre. I would advise against it.
Yeah, like I'm just...
Oof. Yeah, it's, you know... It's fine. Everything's fine. But we do have the best part of the podcast, in my opinion. And this is the part where we reveal our song choices that we have picked for the book. So our guest of honor, Jordyn. I'm so excited. Because Hannah and I always just like, we get so excited to hear what each other picked. We also get nervous that we're going to pick the same song because that did happen before. So.
Well, the thing is, there are so many themes in this book. Whether they are... well, I don't know what the word would be. Well played out or not. Okay, I have two choices for songs.
Okay.
I did originally say Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran, as that who I think sings that. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty
on brand.
Literal.
Yeah.
But like the song Hungry Like the Wolf, it like literally talks about like being able to smell you and like chasing you down. And I'm like, that didn't really happen. You know, she wasn't like chased down. So because I know you guys are Swifties, I picked one Taylor Swift song.
Love.
All right. And it's a very basic one. So I chose Bad Blood, right?
Love.
And I'm like, okay, that's pretty basic. But like Bad Blood used to have Mad Love. So I thought Bad Blood was good.
Yep.
And then Closer by 9 Inch Nails, because I had to put something about fucking somebody like an animal because
obviously.
I
can't wait to like to hear you dissect these.
It's going
to be a little bit further. I literally can't wait. Oh, I love that you picked one. You had to throw a Taylor in there. I love that.
I had to. I picked two because I felt like there are so many themes that just like I couldn't just pick like a love song because it really isn't a love story. Like anyway, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I feel like I needed two at least.
That's fair. I did pick one. I picked one.
Okay.
I picked one. I did not pick a Taylor Swift song.
Okay, well, I'm glad I did then. So
I love that you did. Yeah, so she's here because obviously we're always repping Taylor.
Right.
So I actually picked a song. I feel like a lot of people are kind of recognize it but not know what it's called. I actually picked Horns by Bryce Fox.
I don't think I know that song.
No?
Mm-mm.
Love this song.
That's
so
funny.
I am very excited to talk about that later. It was very vibey. So Hannah and I always talk about, we very much visualize books as almost like cinematic experiences. So as we're like reading, we kind of feel like we lean more towards assigning songs based on like what we feel like the movie or like a TV show experience would be, like something we could picture in like the background that ties in. Sometimes it's more so related to the text, but we both just found like we naturally just like incline toward that kind of thing. So I just feel like the vibe is very werewolf vampire-y.
Right.
Yes.
Feel that.
Very excited. So this is our official warning. Spoilers are ahead. Spoilers are ahead. So if you have not read Bride and you want to, now is your time to get out. Run. If you've read Bride, or if you don't care to, join us because we're about to chat about this book. All right. So obviously we have some strong feelings about Bride. There's a lot of shit that happens toward the back end of the book, but what was your knee-jerk reaction to the beginning? Because I feel like in my head, this is two different books.
This book should have been a series. Like it, not because it's good, but because it needed that much space to add context enough for me to care. Like the political exposition at the end, we'll chat about that in a little bit, that her dad gave to me was like the worst case of info dumping I've almost ever seen in a book. There was no need for an 87-page monologue about the political happenings. What's sad is that was part of it that really interested me in the beginning was the political aspect of it, because I really much like, as much as I do like romance, but I really love a good story.
Yeah.
Especially like politics. You know, I'm very much into like Game of Thrones and more things that have, I guess, politics, right? But yeah, no, the way the book was set up and the way the book ended, you could not have convinced me that they were both the same book, because the middle was so, I don't want to say like convoluted maybe. It just like, there was just not enough time to give context. Just like I was saying, it just, there's mystery because it's Serena, but I don't care about Serena because I've not had enough time to care about her. She's unreliable. She randomly leaves for periods of time. So this time is any different than any of the others. Why do I care about her?
Yeah. And hearing about a vampire being like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go like hack this PC real quick at my day job and then like fuck it up real quick and also have this political prowess and also have all of these things. And I just feel like I was interested in the world, but like, why did they hate each other so deeply? Like, why do these species have such a deep hatred? And they like briefly like skitter over the surface of it. But why, in what world do I believe that an alpha werewolf and a vampire forced bride, basically, of this like super political, powerful vampire figure who has like no emotions or feelings, already gave her up for political collateral, which still doesn't quite make sense to me, because how is that the conclusion that they came to? I was just like, what are we doing?
Right.
Now, I didn't dislike this entire book. Like, I still enjoyed pieces of it. I feel like it had a good structure to it. Like, it had so much potential, like you said. The one thing that I could not fucking stand, and again, this is my first Ali Hazelwood, so like I have another one up on the shelf here. I've been wanting to read more. This has not convinced me that I would like to read more of her work. And I know this is an outlier. I know she writes a lot of STEM pieces, and Our Little Vampire is a STEM girly. Repper fucking Zen. Like, we love that. Femininomenon, like, let's get it, girls. Stupid fucking third-person headers on top of each chapter from whatever the fuck his name is, from Lo's perspective, irritated the ever-loving fuck out of me.
Yeah, it irritated me too because it felt like when it wasn't spoiling what was going to happen, I just felt like it didn't. Like, I was just like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like,
No, I would have rather had a dual POV at that point. Give me Lo's
Right.
POV. Like, I don't want these little snippets of what's going on in his brain. I would rather just know what he's thinking.
Right.
Like, it didn't make sense to me. So some of the banter I thought was really funny. I thought the banter was cute.
Yeah, that's one of the plus points I'd give it, is that I truly, even though I think her name is so dumb, Misery is dumb. Sorry. Like, I just like, really?
And it's Misery Lark.
Yeah, like what?
There's literally a Taylor Swift lyric. It's making a lark of their misery. It's in Dorothea. It doesn't fit, I promise.
I'm done. But I would give it points for it. I did giggle a couple times, right? Like it made me laugh. Like I think the read was, even though I was frustrated by it at points, to the point like where I'd have to like turn to Tyler and be like, I am so frustrated by this book because this is when I was like midway through it. I'm like, I have so many questions and there's so many holes and so many things I'm just expected to go along with and just agree and say, yes, this makes sense. In my brain, there was no way that from the middle of the book, how I was going to get to the end of the book in 200 pages.
Yes.
Like, how am I going to get to a conclusion that I'm okay with, that makes sense with the trajectory of the book?
This was almost 400 pages. Look how little this is.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel that long. Like, even the audiobook, I listen to audiobooks fast because that's just how my brain processes things now. But like, I think it was only like 4.5 hours or 5 hours at like 2 times speed or 1.8, whatever I listened to. There just was not enough in here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could have ended this book with her being abducted, like her being like taken, and like made a whole extra book about what's going on.
Right. That would have been immensely better because I was not like, I will say there's a few times I was surprised.
Yes.
I was not expecting that at all.
No.
Was not expecting Mick to be like, hey.
Yeah.
Even though like looking back at it, I'm like, they did kind of make a big deal about Mick. I can kind of see now that she was character building or making you try to care about him.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. But yeah, no, that's where, it should have ended there because the whole next book, imagine you open the book and she wakes up next to Serena. Like that would be a crazy way to start the book. Or even like, that could have even been a crazy way to end this book, that she wakes up and Serena's there.
And then
like, and they don't tell you who drugged her or like, they leave all that out.
And then what happens? Like we open the next book and it's Lo's perspective and we don't know what happened to her until like halfway through or something crazy. Like that would have been, so I think her biggest problem, if she would have just stuck to the politics and the romance, I think it would have been fine. But the fact that she also tried to weave a mystery into it.
Yes.
Like the mystery of Serena, I understand that was her best friend and like she saw the RL or RE Lo, whatever it was. Like, I'm not going to lie, you guys, I don't remember all of the details of this book because I couldn't.
L.E. Moreland. It was for
Moreland.
Liliana, was it Elise or something like that?
Moreland.
Anyway.
Yeah. Moreland.
Yes. Anyway.
And so she saw Lo's name and was like, yes, I will go ahead and do this.
What are the chances? Like, I just,
literally,
so many things I had just to believe and be like, wow, this is really like, this coincidental.
They're like, I suspend belief in reality for books all the time, but the fact that there were so many holes to get to that suspension of belief, like we started the book out at the wedding. What really bothered me was the fact that we knew immediately that she was his fucking mate. And it was immediate. As soon as he was like, oh, your smell. And she's like, oh, he thinks I smell that. I was like, they're fucking mates. That's how this shit works. And it was hidden until the back half. You had her believe in some chick named fucking Gabby.
Yeah, Gabby.
Gabby was his mate. And like, I'm just so confused by that. I feel like it would have been even cooler to watch her grapple with that fact sooner. Oh, I'm your mate. Let's fuck.
Right. She was totally like for it instead of, Yeah. And the fact that like she had never felt emotions in her life.
Correct.
Now all of a sudden is in love. And first of all, dude is a werewolf alpha and a pilot.
Correct.
Just like Misery Lark is the lead councilman's daughter and a hacker. shut the fuck up. But, you know, as they wait, they get all the way on, they land where Emery, I think her name is, the previous Alpha's headquarters or whatever.
Yeah.
They wait till they get all the way there. They land. They're about to walk out. Emery's walking out onto the tarmac.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, oh, by the way, I have to lick you real quick. And it's like, and she's like, yeah, just do whatever you gotta do. Just do what you gotta do. And he's like, but I gotta rub my scent cleanse on you. Is that okay? I'm like, ew. She's like, yeah, just whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like, they're both coming. I'm like, what? How did we get here? I'm like, what?
And do you want to know the worst part about that, Jordyn? That was her best written, like, spice scene in the whole book.
Yeah, right. Like that one.
That was the best written spice in the whole book, was that situation.
Right. Because it didn't explicitly, like, get sexual. And that is where it was like, she was very good at building up tension. I think that's probably as a writer, maybe a strength for her.
Yeah.
Maybe, like,
there was good tension, Like,
right, but
like,
not the actual execution scene was not good.
Like, the bathtub scene had, like, amazing tension, and I was like, oh.
Right.
Okay, we can get on board with this. But half the time, she's just crawling into fucking closets.
Right. What is the deal with the fucking closet? Why is she Harry Potter? I don't understand it. Harriet Portina. I don't know what's happening.
The daylight, Jordyn.
In the fucking closet.
The daylight. It hurts her.
But the closet? Just shut the fucking curtains. Like, what? Like, I'm like, what kind of weird womb Freudian weird shit is this? But at home, at the nest, she sleeps in a box on the floor.
Yeah.
Turned sideways. But everywhere else, she sleeps. Wait, what was it in her apartment? Where did she sleep? I'm trying to remember. I know she said that Serena would sleep on the floor.
Yes.
But I don't, or no, not on the floor, on the couch. But I can't remember where it said Misery slept. But I just remember her saying something about, like, how her bed, none of her beds were as comfortable as they were at the nest, which was literally, she was like, it's like a crate turned on its side.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, she's in a closet.
Yes. And then, like, I also thought it was interesting that they just keep, like, blood pouches with straws available.
Just hanging around. Where do they get them? Like, they just, like,
they do
glance over that.
They do casually brush over where that comes from, but it has to be fresh, because she said that the fresher the blood, the better.
Yeah, and she can, like, smell when it's bad. So insinuating that it does go bad.
Yeah. And then, like, oh my god, the scene where she, like, bites him for the first time.
Okay, you're reading my brain.
I got
forget
you.
that we have telepathy.
We do have telepathy.
I'm like, why would that be your first thought? I've never fucking drank blood from anybody ever. Why would a werewolf, the people that are deathly afraid of vampires, because vampires have murdered them for centuries, right? These werewolves act like they're gonna shit their little britches whenever they see her fangs a little bit, right? They act like they're gonna shit, right? But this guy is, on a second's notice, he's like, fuck me up, Misery, bite me in the neck, suck all my blood out.
The fact that immediately he's just basically like, my dick is hard, but I can't fuck you.
Right.
And she's like,
and it's like,
but why? And he's like, you don't understand anatomy. And she's like, but why? And he's like, anatomy. And the fact that it was such a prominent conversation through the rest, like, what could have happened is it could have been explained once, the importance of it, why it happens.
Period.
But instead, every single time they had any sort of sexual tension, he was like, but
just tell me.
The knot.
Ew. That word is banned from anything. I don't want to read it ever again. I'm going to quit crocheting.
But yeah, so I feel like we do have to just explain real quick the situation that we had at hand.
The knot we had. Yeah, that was where it, like, really went wrong for me. Where I was like, you know what? The rest of the book, I probably could have accepted. And she could have left this part fucking out. Right? Like, it would have been very easy to leave this out.
So, like
was
this
not
is part of, so Ali Hazelwood, to my knowledge, I haven't done, like, a ton of research on her, but she's big fan fiction girly, which, like, Mood, but that was, like, One Direction fan fiction. So she's big in, like, she likes, like, Omegaverse, so, like, the werewolf stuff and things like that, like, And so this is a traditional part of like werewolf Omegaverse situations, and this is apparently tame compared to some paranormal romances. However, this is a very mainstream book, so it is introducing a lot of people in a broad audience to something wildly unfamiliar. And so, nodding. Hi. So basically, if they have sex and if the werewolf gets like aroused. Now, I had to look this up online because I was like, help. Who did this to her and why did we do this to us? And apparently there's like a role reversal situation where if there's a female alpha, like the knot is different and it's like a whole situation. Yeah. So there's that, but everything's fine, Jordyn. Everything's fine. So basically the dude's his dick, right? His anatomy swells at the base, and that's what's called the knot. And the intention is to lock it up in the vagine.
Like a plug.
And hold it in there until biologically his body feels like he's done. So.
Ew. Which is like, that's what made me feel like I was reading about dogs fucking. And I'm like, I cannot, that made me gag so bad. I had to like try to like, and I know that again makes me a pussy ass bitch. I'm like, I'm not bred for that. And I know that it's like, because I explained this to Tyler.
Yeah. And
now I'm aware that I'm just like I'm just a sweet little vanilla bean frappe ass bitch.
And that's okay.
Like, that's who I am. And that's what I'm actually going to change my LinkedIn title to. Vanilla bean frappe ass bitch. Because that's what I am. And he was like, yeah, that's, there's all these kinks that are called X and Y and Z based off of this. And that seems like almost, way tamer than what is in like mainstream porn. And I'm like, this is why I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just not normal. Like I am just a prudish human. I don't consume sexual content, like except for like, again, like Game of Thrones, or like I watch a lot of documentaries about serial killers, and a lot of times they like sexually abuse their victims, and so I read like that kind of sexual content, but not a lot of like active sexual content. But that on top of it being like, it reminded me of like, I don't know why I know this, but ducks' dicks have spikes on them to keep them in the vaginal canal, right? And that's what I imagine, just like him being like stuck to her, and like if she tried to run away, he'd just be like, "Whoa, babe, we're going," like dick first. And like what stresses me out even more, that I'm like, I'm sure there's some people that read this and like that knot splits them right in half. That's what kills them or something. But maybe I am just too Wonder Bread, Krispy Kreme, like an eggshell paint ass bitch. Maybe that's me. But I was perturbed.
Yeah. And like, again, I read spice, like regular spice. Like all of my romance books have spice. The Windy City series, fuck me up. Liz Tom Ford knows how to write some spice, let me tell you. But it is two humans fucking each other, not a vampire and a werewolf.
Right. Anyway, just like, this is so bizarre. I'm glad.
No, it was an experience. Like it was an experience that we had. Yeah. Maybe it bonded us a little bit more. That's fine. Trauma bonded. I feel like my biggest issue with it, though, like I said, was that it was so heavily discussed again and again, where like he knew from the get-go that she was his mate, and he's like, biologically this isn't gonna work, and I'm like, biologically you shouldn't be her mate if that's not gonna work.
Right. Like, he knew from a picture of her. He said he knew.
Like, he just had a feeling, and then he smelled her and was like, oh fuck.
Right. So like, and unless you're trying to make me believe that this is also the very first time a werewolf has imprinted or whatever on a vampire. You're telling me this is the first time this has ever happened?
Yeah.
Like, it just very, like there's so many first onlys like the rarest, the most elite, the least likely chance is gonna happen. I am forced to accept that over and over again. And the fact that, that he looked at a werewolf looked at a picture of a vampire. After, I guess like in the book it says she was not the first choice. Like there were multiple people before her, and she just happened to also be his mate. Yeah. And is a different
I would have loved to have like more of an unawareness on our behalf of that, because the fact that we found out about it in the prologue, like, or the chunk of the wedding, I think it was even in the prologue, because it does the wedding right at the beginning, then it skips, and then it comes back to the wedding, but he smells her immediately, and I was like, that's, if you've read any ounce of fantasy, you're like, it's not because you smell bad, it's because she has the skin of a killer.
Right.
I wish too, like, I wish this had a map. If you're going to do fantasy and create a world, give me a fucking map. Because I couldn't visualize the situation. I was like, okay, so we're in what, like Chicago?
Right. In my head, I don't know why I got like a lot of, because of werewolves, I was thinking about a lot of like trees, like forest area. I had to just like blur it in my brain, honestly, and just think it's a lot of trees, winding roads.
I was just like, over the hills, through the woods to Grandma's house we fucking go. Like, is that where we're heading?
Right. Exactly.
Like you said, there's so many bits and pieces that I genuinely enjoyed. Like, a lot of the prose I really liked. I think her dialogue is actually, like you said, one of her strong suits is her dialogue. I think the problem is, though, like, she wove too many, like, fantastical elements into it because there was so much telling. Like, she was telling us and not showing us. I wanted her to show us these things, and instead we get like dialogue expositions of these things that could have been explained through like some sort of, I don't know, maybe like back research that Misery was doing on the werewolves or something.
Yeah, she's a hacker. She's like she couldn't have found some documents
about not like the grand, and then the grand reveal at the end that her father's the one who kidnapped Serena. So like,
like they've been living together for.
I was like,
how?
Oh, so you're a grandmaster? Wow. Ooh.
Right. Woo. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so scary.
I did like the plot with Anna, and I thought that, and then also the reveal that Serena was a half-breed. I thought that was like a really cool twist. But if we would have spent more time on that, that would have been better.
Right. Yeah. There were a lot of twists.
Yeah.
Period. I felt like I was discovering something, like I was being told something new every chapter. That, again, this big, like, where I was expected to, like, okay, this big discovery, let's go. But no, I very much felt
that. I don't know. At some point, I like the one thing. Okay, so Ali Hazelwood is typically a romance writer. This is a paranormal romance. So to me, I was like, let me focus on the romantic aspects of it, because maybe that's where, like, the bread and butter is, and I just need to let everything else go. You know?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Why was there a third act fucking breakup with his mate after they fuck for the first time? Why?
Yeah, that, I'm like, what? Yeah, it made no sense. Right.
I was like,
yeah.
Are you so for real right now?
Right.
Are you so for real?
For real.
I would have rather them not physically gotten together and had like a few sexual moments until like a book 2. I would have rather there be like a physical, disturbing amount of slow burn. And then I'm introduced to the knotted dick.
Yeah, make me care before you show me the knot.
Yeah.
You know? That's, And then,
sorry,
go ahead. No, yours is on topic. No, I was about to steer this.
I was also going to steer this plane left. Where were you going?
The poisoned peanut butter? The fuck? This bitch has tried to been killed by assassins. Like, people out of the woodwork, like throwing knives at her. Like, spinning around. People are going through shit trying to kill this bitch, right? Then Papa Grimstone comes through and is like, yes, I somehow know. Well, I guess Mick, right? Mick, clued him off that. But like, why would that ever come up in a conversation? Or Mick's like, Papa Grimstone, I happen to know that Misery likes peanut butter. Do you want me to put some fuck shit in her peanut butter so she eats it? But, you know, she shares that peanut butter with the child that you're also trying to obtain. So that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and let's put a lethal dose for a vampire that should definitely not affect a child in any way, shape, or form.
Right. It made no sense. There's been so many attempts on her life, and he thinks that this peanut butter is going to take this bitch out.
And
while also endangering Anna.
Like, I loved Anna. I loved their little like relationship. That was one of my highlights of the book, hands down. And I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I feel like I'm being like a full-blown hater of this book, which fine, we might be. When I was reading it, I know we're going to give our book ratings and stuff later, but like, I don't know. I was so conflicted. I was texting Hannah because obviously she didn't read the book, and she's like, I will not be reading the book. So I will just enjoy your episode. And I was like, girl, I don't know what to think. Like, normally I have some semblance of an idea, and here I'm sitting and I'm like, some parts of the book I feel like could have been a 3, 3.5, a 4. Some parts of the book I'm like, fuck, I would have DNF'd this if this was the only thing that I got. There's an array, a wide variety of things. And again, I know this is like a subset genre. So this is paranormal romance. So like there are some things that like maybe we've discovered that they're just not for us, and that is a-okay. Mm-hmm. But again, this was heavily marketed as a widespread book. Like, this was not marketed as a very niche branded romance. This was like Ali Hazelwood's new fucking book. Everyone read this shit. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I think the reason that it was so horrifying is that we didn't care enough. Like, she just didn't build enough into their backstory about why I should care about their coming together besides people going to war again. But what does that mean for the people? Like, what does that mean for the humans? Like, all I know is that they hate each other at some root level. All I know is that they've had these conflicts in the past. Now they have collateral where they send a werewolf and a vampire to like the human lands, and we keep them as collateral for however long it was, like 10 years. She was 8, came out when she was 18, I think, or she was 10, came out when she was 18. It's 10 or 8 years, one of those two.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It just didn't make sense. I needed, like, I would have rather her omit this massive backstory and just be like, these kingdoms are at war. You must marry. Have conflict.
Right.
Or really fleshed out the world and put an emphasis on this mystery, this mysterious missing friend that happened. Because it's like an if maybe this. Oh, look over here. Oh, shiny object there. Oh, wait, they're fucking down here. Oh, wait, he's licking her again. Like, there was one quote, Jordyn, I don't know where it is, but when he was like, you guys, he literally was like, oh, you smell like you just came. And she's like, I did. And he's like, I have to eat you out now.
Yes. Ew. It was so icky.
And it wasn't in like that was not a hot thing. Like that. Usually it's like, fuck yeah. Like, let's rock and roll here, people. I read that and I was like,
like, ew. Right. Like,
horrified.
Yeah,
it just wasn't. It wasn't sexy. Like, she could have made it sexy, but at the end, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to carve out 2 hours a day to have sex because I physically can't remove myself from your body."
I was horrified. Yeah, there was so much that could have been left out that would have made this book exponentially better.
Because we're both simultaneously like, there could have been significantly less detail, or there could have been significantly more detail. Like, it needed to pick a lane.
Right. And it was so in the middle, just trying, like, I totally, not that I'm a writer, right? But I'm just saying, I feel like I can empathize or sympathize. I don't know what the correct term would be, but with the idea of having this idea and quarreling with not wanting to make it too short, but not too long. And you're trying to find that middle spot. And I'm sure that that's a delicate balance, right? Like, I'm not trying to discredit that or say that I'm bitter, but I'm just saying that, like, this one really needed to pick one. Like, it was so in the middle where I was very frustrated because the things that, like, I wanted to care about Serena because I like mysteries. Like, I wanted to care about that. If they would have made more of like the plot of the dad, like all this time that he's been doing this, or like flesh out, like, what does, like you were saying, like, what does war look like for these people? Why have they gotten to the conclusion that the collateral is the ideal way? Like, what did they try before? what did they lose?
Yes.
Like, what's at risk here by not obliging? And instead, it literally is fed to us as Misery's like, yeah, they say that the Aster, where the wolves betrayed the vampires, but no one knows why. And then Lo randomly, like 3/4 of the book, says, yeah, well, they teach us that it's because it was revenge on the vampires for not upholding something or something stupid. And they're like, yeah, that's what they taught us in school. And she's like, oh, is that why? Really? Mm-hmm. That's the big reveal as to why, with this Aster event that they keep mentioning over and over again. Like the Aster, that's when all this happened. And just to find out it's like a misunderstanding. Like nobody's talked about it. Like, there's just so much that I'm like, this is...
And like, I had political intrigue with her brother. It's Owen, right? Owen was her brother.
Yeah,
so
Owen.
I had the political intrigue of her brother being like the one who was like not a part, did not want anything to do with this, was like really pushing it off. So I was wondering where, like, he came in at the end, but he was, I feel like, thrown in sprinkled so sporadically through it that by the end, I didn't understand why his role was so massive when we learned very minimal about her and him. And I wanted more of that. I also would have loved more of her life being low-key threatened living with them. Like, that was a really cool sequence because I was like, holy shit. Oh my God, like, someone's attacking her. It was, I think Max attacked her, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So Max attacked her. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh, this is cool. I can get down with this. I just wanted, I wanted simultaneously more and less, which I guess means that I didn't like it.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of feel too. Like I was, through it multiple times, I had to stop and be like, I almost was gaslighting myself into being like, even like I was talking to Tyler. Tyler's like, you're being too close-minded. And I'm like, I really tried. I wanted to like it.
I went in with the idea knowing this was more of a paranormal romance and knowing these things. And I just didn't, maybe not for me, but also I'm kind of interested in like fantasy type fantastical elements. So maybe I just need to try a better written romance. Cause like, I don't know. Like I'm reading Crescent City right now. I'm on the last book of my Sarah J. Maas, universe. This is my 16th book that I've read of her world. And like there are a bunch of different creatures. Now granted they do have like human parts, like, there are shifters, but there's like, mermen and angels and fae and like wolf shifters and all of this stuff. And I have no problem at all reading about that. And I think it's just the way that it's handled.
Yeah, they're not probably treated like
correct,
like right. Like I imagine they lean more into the
and there's like
part.
animalistic instinct there, and sometimes it does get a little wild, but like it's not in a way that I feel like deters from the story at all. It just makes sense,
right? Like, and I would have even been fine with like some of the biting stuff they talked about because humans bite each other. Like,
honestly, I feel like it could have been kind of hot if it was like done well,
Right, but the weird dick thing, that's where I was like, this is too animal, right? Like
didn't your mom used to breed dogs? Or like do some shit? Or like she knows people who bred dogs?
Yes.
That's all I could think about.
Yeah, it's just, right. I'm just like, this is, like I'm not supposed to be reading this. Like this is illegal. Jail, immediately to jail. I'm like, I told Tyler, I'm like, I wouldn't want somebody to read this knowing that I've also read it. Like
I get you. I understand.
Like, whereas like sexy stuff in other books, I'm like, I didn't feel ashamed to read any of the cutie little like sexual scenes, but I've not liked, besides I do like Misery.
Yes.
I guess maybe I should say I've really struggled to like characters in like movies and TV shows and books. Like I've really struggled lately with liking people.
So it's a personal issue.
And right, I know, right? I mean, like if she came out, she was like, "Bride 2, bitches, we ride at dawn." I'd be like,
okay, but no. We think she's definitely going to, right? Because Serena at the end with the mate situation. Okay, why are mates so rare? But you get a mate, and you get a mate, and everyone gets a fucking mate. Hey.
I just, again, with the repeated, I'm just expected to believe that these rare occurrences coincidentally are all occurring to the same pack of people within the same period of time. Yeah, I thought that was silly Billy Willie time. Like, why would we leave off like that? Like, because I really don't care about a story of them two being mated. Right? Wasn't it? It's Cohen and Serena. But I think Cohen had a wife or something, right? I'm trying to remember.
It's just like,
not.
But Serena, I just, at the end, she was like, oh, Serena's not going to be happy about that. And I was like, I wouldn't fucking be either.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of bizarre and like meaningless.
Yes.
Because I don't care about her yet. Like, I'm happy that she was able to be a werewolf. And also, okay, speaking of being a werewolf, they're at the nest right in front of Papa Grimstone or whatever his name is. And she's like, yes, Lo, you need to, that thing that Anna can't do yet, just know one day she'll be able to. Okay, so when that happens, Serena busts out into a werewolf, right? But so does Lo. So you're telling me this whole time Lo could have busted out of those restraints and killed everybody because he's the alpha and undoubtedly stronger than everybody in that room. At any time he could have already done that. Did not need Serena to be able to change at all because he was able to quickly take off his restraints and fuck everybody up.
Yes.
So what was the point of being handcuffed?
Unclear. Now, I do like that he was a fluffy white wolf.
Yeah, I do. But so was she.
Yeah, Serena. I love though that like the big scary alpha was like a fluffy like Samoyed, whatever they're called. Samoyed.
Yeah. Samoyed. Yeah.
Like you just put him in a little backpack. He's just white and fluffy. And also, what does Misery look like?
Yeah, they don't. All they talk about is that she's got the violet eyes like everybody else does, and then her her ears are pointed. But they don't talk
and she's
about.
Tall.
I think she's
tall.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's
but,
really
like,
tall.
We don't get many descriptors of her.
No, I think on her wedding day, I'm trying to remember, or if like when he's talking about her picture, if he describes what her hair color was and if it was long or short. I think it's
blonde.
That's what I'm getting, like blonde, curly, like blonde, long,
like
curly
with the cover.
Hair.
It's like light. Also, I low-key hate this cover. Can we be haters? Can we just be haters?
Yeah, like
the eyes. Why are the eyes like this?
Yeah, well, see, mine didn't do that because I read it on Kindle.
They shine.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, he just wants to be bejeweled.
Not creepy at all. I'm done. But yeah, I don't. It's a little weird.
Indirectly.
I even think the title is kind of weird. Like, I'm just.
Yeah, I just like. For it to literally be called really Bride, and the only reason that she's the bride is to save her friend that we don't care about because she doesn't give us enough reason to care about the friend that she wants to save. Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I almost wish it was like Anna was on like the vampire side and she was like a vampire werewolf split. And the reason that she got into the relationship with Lo was to like save her. Like if Anna was like her,
right, I guess that would make more
like,
sense.
It doesn't have to be that exact thing, but I think like the fact that it was tied so heavily to Lo, and the only reason was for Serena, who she literally didn't know was a shifter until the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you supposed to care? She thought she was just looking for her bitch ass human friend.
Right. Yeah. Which like. Halfway through the book, it's like I couldn't tell if Misery was in love with her or just loved her. And I was trying to understand that because she kept saying, when I find Serena, I'm going to have to make some important decisions. Like between Serena and Lo, like what are these important decisions you're going to have to make? Like maybe I'm just missing it, but I sometimes got romantic feelings. Like, but maybe that was just like misplaced. Like she didn't know how to understand her own feelings, and that's her only concept of feeling. Period.
True, because like she doesn't have like emotions. That. Like I don't think we talked about that enough. Like these vampires apparently don't feel emotions
at all. Like even when they fuck. Like okay, did it explain how they procreate? Because Tyler asked me that, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think it did.
So,
it's like It made it sound like it was a group decision.
Basically, like because it's so hard for them to procreate, my understanding is that they just like boom, 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 boom for the good of the group. Like whoever.
Okay, everybody's passing, swinging their partner around.
I just feel like whoever can bear children is like the sole responsibility to bear children for the vampires. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And but I was intently listening to this book. Like, I slowed it down. I was like listening, absorbing, like really taking it in. And I missed so many details. And I don't know if it's because I just like, while I was listening, or if because the details weren't there, or if they weren't apparent enough.
Right. Yeah, I just felt like I was missing. So yeah, for sure. That's what I was saying midway through Tyler. I don't know if I'm just missing a lot. If I hope the rest of the book answers these questions I have. Like, it didn't at all. I had more questions at the end than I did midway through. You know, I did like the twist that the brother really wasn't like flipping on her and Lo at the end. Like, I did like that. I like that Serena got to run away naked into the woods with, what was her name? Was it Juno, maybe? Did she run away with Juno? I think out into the woods. I like that. And that it's, you know, that Anna is happy and they get to, you know, Anna moved back into her old room and Lo and Misery get to share their bedroom again. And like, you know, like that's, you know, I don't know. That Owen's gonna take his dad's place, even though he had no desire to do that ever at all. Like, that didn't really make sense to me. I thought it would make more sense for Misery to be, you know, like she was more well equipped for it. It would have made sense with her being the collateral, like between the humans and with the werewolves, like, and her being a vampire. Like,
okay, clearly, you guys, as you can tell, we struggled with Bride. There were some parts that I genuinely actually enjoyed and I would have loved more of. There are parts that I wish I could erase from my brain using bleach right now.
Yeah.
So we both wrote down a couple of quotes. Do you want to read the quotes that you had? Because I almost put down the ones that you wrote down, actually.
Okay, because they're all, oh my God, your second quote, I loved. Yes. I thought that was so funny. Okay, so yeah, it's from Misery, and it's right after they get married, and talking about, I think it's when Owen checks in with her to make sure she's
just
still
like
alive.
Quick check, quick view.
Right, just to make sure. And she says, we haven't even been married for 24 hours. Praying mantises have longer honeymoon periods.
Yes.
So that was funny. Because I'm a bug girly, right? Like bugs, okay? And then the second one was when Lo was planning on going to Emery's, and Serena was pitching that she needed to really go too, and like gave like this really big speech about it. And so Lo goes, that was a badass speech, Misery. And she goes, badass is my middle name. And he goes, your middle name is Lynn. She goes, shit, stop reading my file. And I thought that was funny, but like very cheesy, but funny. Like it was one of the hints to let you know that he like was
read up on her, like he knows who she is. Yeah, right. No, I love those. The first one that I put down was like toward the end where she's, you know, they're having their romantic moments, living their lives, and Misery, obviously because her name is Misery, is always just like, I'm a problem, I'm a burden, like you don't want this. And he says, you're not a problem, Misery, you're a privilege. So cute. To be fair, I also didn't like, I thought the tension was good, but I didn't fully believe the romance personally.
Right. It was the roller coaster was up and down. Like, you know, the like hot, really hot and cold, maybe I should say. I did say that I felt sad for her when Lo broke her heart. Like, because I care about, like, I think because Misery is the character they talk about the most. Like, I cared the most about her. And I was sad that her heart was broken. But I didn't believe that, like, that in their relationship,
wasn't into it. Yeah. To that. The other quote that I picked was another, like, funny one. So she's, like, looking at their living quarters that she's being shepherded to in the werewolf territory, which is so dangerous for her to be in. It is heroic for her to take these actions to live with the werewolves. But Misery just goes, honey, I ask, lowering my sunglasses to the tip of my nose, are we rich? Love.
Right.
Love.
So funny. Because I feel like I can see it. Right? Like, honey,
Rich?
are we rich?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
So funny.
Do you have any final thoughts about Bride by Ali Hazelwood before we go into our song selection, our final ratings, all that fun stuff?
I would say overall, I can't say it didn't drag a little bit, because I did feel like it similar to kind of what I've been saying, and like what we've both been kind of saying back and forth, is that I wanted more and less at the same time. So then sometimes I feel like it was dragging, and sometimes I'm like, wow, where the fuck am I? You know, I think it was easy to read, meaning that it was well written in the way that like words flowed, and they were very easy to understand, right? It was a very easy book to digest as far as like the literal words of what they mean.
Yeah, it was like the writing didn't take you out of the story.
story.
Like the writing was not a distraction.
Right, at all. I don't think it's for everybody. I'm glad I read it, so that way I can ha-ha'd through it, especially knowing that I was going to have to talk to you about it. But yeah, it was interesting that I don't think I'll be reading a book similar to this one.
That's so fair.
Again.
That is so fair. I would probably read a paranormal romance by a different author. Like someone that I know like dabbles in the genre like heavily. I would probably read another one.
It's your duty to read books. You know what I mean? Even like books that aren't necessarily popular, you know, listen, me calling you the Jesus Christ of books, like, right? Like you're reading for the good of us all, right? So that way we can decide what we shall and shall not read, right? Like you're bearing the ultimate cost for us.
Yeah,
so.
I am hesitant to read another Ali Hazelwood because while, like Jordyn said, the writing like did not take me out of the story or anything like that, her style I just don't think is my vibe. I might try one of her other romances, like I said, I think I have like Love Hypothesis or something like that up on one of those shelves.
Yeah, that one I have, and Love Theoretically I think is another one by hers that I have.
I got it on Book of the Month because I was like, oh, this sounds like it would be cute and fun. So I might try it, like, because I also don't think that one book from an author is necessarily like the sole representation of their work, especially an outlier like Bride. But I just, like, for me to feel so conflicted while reading, where like, I was like, oh, I'm really vibing. Oh, I'm not vibing anymore. Oh, I'm really vibing. Oh, no, not happening. What's going on there? And then for me to have like, the hottest scenes of the book entail some stuff that I was like, this is kind of straight. Like the scenting scene was like her best spice scene. And I was like, this should be so hot. What is happening? Yeah. And so, I don't know. We'll see. I truly don't even know what I'm going to give you as my final rating. We're going to mull on that over for a minute, but yeah, everything's fine. So, that was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. That was Bride.
Sure fucking was.
We're gonna go into our song dissection. So how this works is Jordyn's gonna go first because she's our guest of honor, but she picked 2 songs, so we get her for a little bit longer, and she gets to tell us like the song that she picked, why she picked it, and then go through like lyrics, key things that like kind of tie back to the characters, and then I'll talk about mine. Then we're gonna give you our final book rating. So Hannah and I rate books typically into the moon into Saturn because that's just like our fun little vibey thing. We wanted a different scale because this is our summer series. So we're rating in suns for summer.
Yeah, so
each
cute.
of us will give a sun rating, which is similar to a star scale, but like the podcast version of. So, Jordyn, walk us through your song choices. I'm so excited.
Okay, so I did spoil this a little bit earlier because I am a certified.
We love the mayor of the uptown.
So yeah, it's I picked 2 songs. One, I figured I had to pick a Taylor Swift song, and so I picked "Bad Blood," right? Because I felt that one of the reoccurring instances that I just kept happening over and over and over and over again to this girl. So there's an active theme, or I guess active, like a recurring instance that happens is that Misery is constantly betrayed, whether it looks like literally betrayed or falsely betrayed, like where she thinks like when her brother comes in at the end, she thinks that he betrayed her, right? But like he really didn't.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, everybody in this book, like I said earlier, everybody hurts her. Everyone but Anna. But she's a child, so like, maybe she does do something that hurts her feelings or something. I don't really remember. But nothing really that I can even think of. So everybody hurts her. There's constant, like, these betrayals that are, like, heart-shattering betrayals of her species, of her father, of her even being born when it killed her mother, like how they actually, she betrayed them by killing her. It feels like the Wares betray her, then Lo, then Mick, then you find out Serena betrayed her, then you think Owen betrays her, and you're just like, wow, this lady, like, wowee. Like, on top of it, like, she's been attempted to be assassinated multiple times. Dad tried to poison her with the peanut butter. Like, fuck me up. Right. I'm like, you know what? Bad Blood by Taylor Swift makes sense for me there. Blood, because I thought it also was kind of funny, because, like, blood's a big thing. But yeah, Bad Blood. I mean, it's kind of like a shallow pick, right? Because it's just like the theme of, like, you know, they used to share tight ties, or ties that you'd think would be tight. Lifelong friendships, like actual family blood, and that all gets spilt and or drank, you know, punny,
sometimes with the straw,
right? Sometimes with a straw, sometimes directly to the neck. But yeah, so that's why I picked Bad Blood, because I felt like that was like my more tame pick, and I felt like that was more appropriate for the pod. But then my second pick was Closer by 9 Inch Nails.
I fucking love you for doing that. And what an icon you are.
Like, it's
what an icon.
Because what? Well, I'm just like, it's like that song is like, the vibe is like, it's like, it seems like otherworldly, super sexy, you know, talks about fucking people like animals. I'm like, that's what they be doing, right? Exactly. And you know, like, you bring me closer to God. It's like a otherworldly, out of body, like, crazy. That's just like what vibes that song gives me. Kind of like how you were saying with the song that you chose. Like, it's just very like the vibe. That's like it is, and it's like very like Predator-y feeling, right? Like very hunter prey. Like, you're in trouble. You know, like that kind of like. That version of sex appeal.
Do you have like a quintessential line from either song that you feel like encapsulates the book for you?
Yeah, I guess I would say that if I were to pick a certain line, and I guess this would specifically apply maybe to the when Lo used that information he had about her against her when he was breaking up with her and saying he wasn't, you know, they weren't mates or whatever. And I guess I would say it was, did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be trusted. Did you have to ruin what was shining? Now it's all rusted. Did you have to hit me where I'm weak? Baby, I couldn't breathe and rub it in so deep. Salt in the wound like you're laughing right at me. So that's what I'm going to pick for Bad Blood.
Also, too, you guys, so we have a playlist for each season. We will also have a playlist for our summer mixtape series. So on Spotify, if you guys are Spotify users, you can look up our playlist. So we have all of our songs in order of being picked for season 1, season 2, and then these will be the first ones on our summer mixtape series.
I'm so dead. I'm absolutely in honor of you, which it makes it even more hilarious, as I'm going to pick the line that says, "You tear down my reason. Help me. It's your sex I can smell." I think I can smell that you came in your pants.
Amazing.
I'm gonna need to. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fucking disgusting. But in honor of you,
thank you so much for that. I am distinctly honored. I've never felt more honored in my life. Love it. Those two choices are iconic. I am obsessed. So I chose Horns by Bryce Fox. And so my favorite version of the song is the Stay Loose remix, but I'm just reading the OG lyrics just in case anything was changed. But it is very vibey. And it starts out by saying, "In her heart, there's a hole. There's a black mark on her soul. In her hands is my heart, and she won't let go till it's scarred." I don't know. I made that connection. And it says, "Tried to breathe, but I can't because the air she feeds me is damned. Got a touch like a thorn because the girl, she's hiding horns." So I feel like Lo obviously like has this innate like thing with her. But Misery's entire reason for being there has nothing to do with the political standing. And so she like has this kind of like hidden secret. But the big thing is the chorus goes, she's got blood cold as ice. So her blood is freezing because she's a vampire, and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones.
Oh,
like
shit.
She like awakens something in low, but like she does, you know. And then it says she gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got 2 little horns and they get me a little bit. And but the horns are the fangs, and
the fangs that he says he's terrified of murder all his people, and then also
fuck him up in the neck, you know. And then it says she's the fire and the sin, and I burn breathing her in. Now it's love suicide, and I sell my soul for the high. Because he spends so much time saying like, I would give just whatever my mate would give me, whatever, I would take anything she would give me. And I feel like he's buying any amount that she gives him for the high, but he's also doing it secretly because he doesn't fucking tell her the entire time. So there's that. And it says, truth be told, I don't mind, because her hell's my paradise. She can crush every hope, got her heels stomping down my throat. And like, there was definitely like a rival situation. I wouldn't call them enemies. I think they were forced enemies given the situation, but like there was no risk to each other. Like with the two of them being together. Like when I think of enemies, I think of someone holding a knife to their neck, and then like book 2, they're fucking. Like that's what I think. Like that's the vibe.
Right. No, I did not get enemies. These were people like they're like, and I don't know, is it enemies of circumstance? Like they like natural enemies, but not like
correct. Like they had forced proximity. They had this marriage of convenience. I would almost call it more of an arranged marriage, less of a marriage of convenience. It was convenient to the political standing, but not convenient to them. And then it repeats that chorus, and there's like a bridge that kind of rounds out the song, and it says, she got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. And it just like repeats that through the end. So I just love this song. It's such a vibe. It's such a bop. I feel like you need to go listen.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
we need to like, you need to listen to the whole thing all the way through. I love this song. And it just, it felt very like on brand with like the mated like situation. And I normally love a good fated mate. Sign me up. You're telling me that like some thread of the universe brought y'all together? Fucking give it to me. I just didn't like this. I feel like my line is, I just feel like the top chunk of the chorus, she's got blood cold as ice and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones. Like that is it to me. So yeah, love that song. Everyone please go listen on our playlist. Thank you. If you listen to Apple Music, why? First of all,
other than the fact that our Spotify keeps raising their prices, but
but here's the thing: like Spotify, the CEO of Spotify could come and personally saw off my left arm, and I would probably still use their platform.
Right, honestly, yeah. We have a family plan. I use it all day, every day. So does Tyler.
Well, and like everything is on the platform. Like Apple, you have 3 different apps for your podcast, for your music, for all this shit. Spotify, I get my audiobooks, I get my podcasts, I get my music. I have my likes and my history from when I was literally a freshman in college. Like,
and now it's a social media platform because you guys can comment. Anybody can comment on a podcast on Spotify.
You sure can.
It's enabled. So make sure if you like this video, if you made it this far in the podcast, make sure you like it and leave a comment down below. I think you can like them, but I know you can leave a comment. So make sure if you made it this far, the secret word is not.
Fuck. It's perfect. So, all right, it's time for our book ratings.
Okay.
Jordyn, how many suns are you rating this book out of 5? 2 suns for Jordyn.
I'm going to give it 2 suns. Not because it was bad, but because it could have been so much better.
Totally fair. Totally.
And it makes me feel bad about it, but... And it's not like I will still likely read another Ali Hazelwood book. Like, I'm still going to give her a chance. Like I said, I didn't mind her writing style, but this book, I'd give it a 2. And if the next one came out, the only reason I would read it is because I've already committed to reading the first one, had to endure that. and that I'd want to give it the chance of redeeming itself in the second book. But
like morbid curiosity.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Like masochism.
Yeah. I'm gonna be so for real. I still don't know what I want to rate this. Like, I really am struggling. My gut coming into this was 3. However, the more we discussed it, the more I was like, yeah, no, this is fucked. So I think I'm gonna go. Let's just do a cool 2.5. Let's do a 2.5. Because I think too, like, I've also read so many books. Like, as of recording this, I've read 70 other books this year. And I feel like in comparison, like, did I have fun? Were there some fun parts? Yes. But did I dislike the majority of what I consumed? Yes. So we're going to go 2.5.
Okay. I think that's solid. I just tried to rate it in comparison to like the last book I read. And I know what I read that. And using that rating, I used that to determine this rating.
Yeah, it was just like the overall vibes.
Right.
Yeah. I rate solely based on vibes. Like, Hannah and I talk about it a lot. I also feel like different genres have different meaning to me. Like, I'm much easier on traditional romance because I know that it's like formulaic and like I know what's going to happen. But more of like a fantasy. And I know this is categorized as a romance. However, there's too many moving pieces for me to just think of it as a traditional romance. And so like my scales are just way different for something like this than like my fun little fluffy rom-coms with cute spice. Like,
right.
So yeah, we got 2 sons, 2.5 sons. And yeah, I don't think either of us would necessarily recommend this book. But I think that there's an audience for this, obviously, because people like it. And I know that we shit on it for like 2 hours. However, I do, like, objectively, I think that it has some serious issues in terms of plot holes and things like that. Subjectively, I think that if we just vibed with the content more, we probably both would have rated it somewhere in the 3s.
Right.
You know, where it's like, yeah, we would maybe recommend this to someone. So I think it is just like a slight difference between, like, objectively, I think there are some critical errors with the book. Subjectively, probably just not for us.
Right.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Do you have any other thoughts about Bride? We just wrapping it up here.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think you perfectly said it, that there's definitely an audience for it. I think there's some people who are probably really into this stuff. It's just not as mainstream as Goodreads led me to believe from like seeing how, not that it's Goodreads' fault, right? Like, not like they were advertising it's for everybody, but the way, because Ali Hazelwood was so well or highly regarded for her regular romance novels, this got like sent on a PR blast that I feel like it normally wouldn't have. So, and I'd be really interested to see how other people feel about it and if they can make peace with things I couldn't. But yeah, if you want to try something new, I mean, like I said, I flew through this in like 2.5 sittings, kind of. So I did feel like it went by quick, but not in the same way that House Across the Lake did. Like, that went by really quick, and I had some major problems with that book, but I was thoroughly entertained the whole time.
Yes.
This one, there were things I could not get past, and I was not entertained, so I couldn't even like give it a hall pass.
Totally.
And say, like, it gets by.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, that was Bride by Ali Hazelwood, featuring Jordyn. So I'm going to quickly announce our next episode. So our next mixtape episode, you guys are not going to get me. You're getting Hannah. Hannah's coming back. So Hannah is bringing on her friend Becca, and Becca is a huge book nerd. She recommended a lot of books, and she actually was the one who recommended us read Inkblood Sister Scribe in season 2. And we both really enjoyed it. So they are going to read it's a magical realism fantasy book called The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. It was a recent book of the month pick, and like it just came out. So they're both very excited to read it. And their episode comes out on Wednesday, August 21st. So be on the lookout for that. Please make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Be sure to follow us on your preferred podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Please rate and review the podcast. That is so beneficial to us if you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, I'm so sorry. You can just click away and move on with your life and never talk to me ever again or see me or hear me. Please just, that's the vibe. We also have a Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting us, $5 American a month, which honestly is cheaper than a cup of coffee now. It is actually cheaper
It's
than
like
a cup of coffee.
It's like half a cup of coffee.
Correct. We have a lot of bonus content. We were in a little bit of a lull because Hannah had a baby. Congratulations, Hannah. But we have we have so much fun content planned coming up, so we are very excited. We still have some exclusive stickers and bookmarks for our first few patrons that join, so you will get an exclusive sticker and bookmark. And yeah, so thank you so much, Jordyn, for coming on and for hanging out with me. How was your first podcasting experience?
Oh, so good. So good. Hopefully you don't have to edit out too many likes, us.
It's
From
fine.
me, I'm sure you will. I am campaigning to be Hannah's total. So Jordyn for queen. Here we go. But no, super fun. Thank you for inviting me on. I feel very honored that you trusted that I was literate enough to explain a book to other people, even though I just kind of screamed about bestiality for 2 hours. But, we all have our strengths.
Absolutely.
And, I had a good time.
I love it. Well, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. So Hannah will see you guys on August 21st with their summer mixtape for The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And then Jordyn, you get to say our outro.
And remember, keep reading with kindness.
Bye, everyone.